Hi Scorpio, welcome to your mid-February 2021 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here. So I'm just going to shuffle the cards for a second. See what turns up. We're having a new moon on the 11th at 23 degrees of Aquarius. And this is falling in your fourth house of home and family. So that can be a development of, at this time, Mercury is retrograde. So if you're having some kind of if you're selling your house and you're getting some kind of an offer from somebody, make sure that everything is, on point with the contract so that you are not, left in the lurch because something got screwed up. Pick an additional card. Okay. That's a funny combination there. You've got the Three of Swords and the Marriage card. Wow, how am I going to spin that one? The heart of the matter is the Queen of Swords. When I see this woman, I think she might have been through quite a bit, quite a lot, and she has to make a decision about something. And it's not an easy decision. She might feel this sense of her emotions, her sympathies tugging at her heartstrings, and yet, maybe it's her higher self guiding her and telling her that she deserves better or that she's being taken advantage of. In the past position, we have the Hangman, which can be a card of being in limbo. In this context, with the Queen of Swords, it can be a card of, I feel, being in limbo, having that sense that you're being jerked around by somebody because they keep saying next week, next week. Now, usually, because of the shutdown shenanigans, I feel like that probably has happened to people in the workplace where they thought they were going to resume their position and maybe not so fast. Maybe things did not transpire the way that they were hoping they would. And in those types of situations, you might feel a little bit helpless because you really can't control what they're doing. The only thing you can control is your own emotions and how you are reacting to this kind of behavior. So a part of you may be like, I'm done, I'm out of here. And yet, perhaps you're feeling frightened of, yeah, but how am I going to make this happen? What am I going to do? How am I going to just walk out? What if something doesn't come in its place? So there might be the fear of the unknown. If this is a relationship issue, I get this feeling of maybe somebody who is promising you that they're going to leave their partner, or, for instance, sometimes I really feel like of all the signs, Scorpio is one of the least likely to engage in extramarital activity. And if you meet somebody and you fall for them and they tell you or you find out, and I think with Scorpio, it's usually your intuition just kind of needling at you and telling you, no, something isn't adding up here. And then you do a little bit of research and you find out that this person was not being straightforward with you, that you confront that person and say, I'm not going to have anything to do with you until you decide to fully leave that other relationship. And they might say, oh, I'm going to. It's just that right now I can't afford a divorce, or I can't, we're really living separate lives, yada, yada. It's not really cheating because, that other person, they're dating too now. We just happen to live under the same roof because it's just for economic reasons, or our children we want our children to have an intact family or something like that. And sometimes, who knows, maybe those are not just excuses, they're 100% true. But if that person didn't disclose that they were married, that is something that would, you would be right to be concerned about. So, it depends on the circumstances. If you were the one that found out, then that proves that they were trying to keep it from you. Because it's kind of an important little tidbit of information, don't you think? But anyway, there may be a part of you that knows it's up to you, that you have to be the one that cuts it off. But same with the workplace, because we have, even as the higher message, we have the Three of Pentacles. This is the card of the co-workers, and it's also a card of the Architect's card, so it's connected to firm foundations. The number 3 is a creative number. It can even be, I'm pretty sure that can be about having children. And because you have that fourth house triggered so much, and I just talked about this in other readings, so I'm not going to really go into that, but Jupiter is one of those planets, and that can indicate in addition to the household. And I would say even, you're having a child, and maybe in some cases it could be having a child you did not expect to have. Or maybe like let's say you're a woman who is 35 years old and you have always assumed you were going to have children. It just, the idea never was something that was a question in your mind. It was only with who that you're going to have this child. And so perhaps that is the thing that is bothering you, is that you don't really think that this person is father material, or if it's a man, mother material, I guess. In terms of work situations, this may be telling you a spiritual message. You need an environment that is going to be where you and your coworkers are harmonious, that you're not trying to show each other up. And it's possible that was the kind of place that you were in. And so if you feel like that they're favoring somebody over you, because I have this Three of Swords where I often feel that sense of rejection, understand that they could be playing favorites. And in that case, it doesn't have anything to do with you specifically. It's just their being biased towards one person versus another. What crosses you is the High Priestess. So you may be like neglecting your own sense of intuition, because perhaps you don't want to really take a look at these things fully. It might be painful to you for whatever reason. It's almost like, what's that saying? Ignorance is bliss. But the problem is it's not really blissful, because, with the Queen of Swords, that you're being jerked around by somebody. And you feel like you're twisting in the wind with the Hangman. But you don't know exactly what to do. You might feel like your hands are tied in a certain way. And so that can be where the dilemma is. But I think also with the High Priestess, like listening to your higher self, going within, rather than, complaining to your loved ones about whatever this situation is, because not only does that externalize the problem, and in a lot of cases, it's like if we have a confidant that we really value their take on things or wisdom, that's one thing, because it is nice to be able to share our struggles with somebody. But if you're dealing with, if you're not very discerning about who you're sharing this information with, they may have a very primitive way of looking at life. their experience in life may not be something that you want to emulate, that you want to be like them. So it really doesn't matter what their opinion is, because it's not really germane to your situation. What is coming in is represented by the Five of Wands, and this can be a card of conflict. And it may be that you have to make some waves. The real trick is if you need to kind of like I wouldn't say like call somebody out, but just kind of lay down the law, I would say. Other people are going to be they're going to be like a little bit upset. And you have to be able to take that. Now, a lot of Scorpios, they might say, bring it on. But there are some Scorpios, and this might be the ones who, for this reading, is most valid, where I am getting this card, who are reticent, who are, kind of like a little bit leery of doing this because maybe you have inner planets in Libra, because Libra is right next to you. You might have Mars in Libra, Venus, Mercury, and you feel that you have to keep the peace. If you have Libra rising, if you have Pisces, Moon in Pisces, Pisces rising. And the problem with that is that we have to assert ourselves at certain times in order to move things along, because you can be like the Hangman for a long time before you finally get the memo that it's not going to change until you change that situation. And if this is, and same thing applies to if you're in some kind of romantic situation where you feel like somebody is jerking you around, you might have to be very, very assertive about it and perhaps give an ultimatum and a deadline. But you can't do that if you're not willing to follow through. If you're just going to give an idle deadline, I was going to say idle threat, but I don't like to act like it's a threat. I mean just a statement of fact. If you don't do that, if you don't follow through, then they're going to know that you're completely full of it. So I have an outcome card, and this is the Three of Swords. Now, this is one of the things about an ultimatum, for instance, or any kind of time when we assert ourselves. That person may call our bluff. So if you're in the workplace and you've been promised a promotion or to have your hours restored or whatever it is, and you see other people and they're getting all this stuff and you're not, and you say, look, I'm not going to take this anymore. You promised me. You obviously can give it to this person and that person. I want that same thing. And they say, no, sorry. Okay, you can quit. We've got somebody else waiting in the wings. That might exactly happen like that if you express yourself that way. And that's one of the reasons why you have to be very smart about how you deal with these decisions like the Queen of Swords has to make. The Queen of Swords is somebody has to make a decision and use their intellect, their smarts to solve this problem. But the Queen represents the water element, so there still is that intuition that is a guiding force. It's not just completely not having any emotion. So I picked an additional card, and we have the Ten of Cups. This is the card of family harmony, a sense of, a completion. Now, this is a marriage card, so I could see in some cases that if this is oh yeah, I didn't even think about this. If this is if you are involved in a marriage that has had problems and you have been, maybe your partner has been having an affair or left, and you were wondering whether or not you can reconcile, this card, the Three of Swords, may indicate that it is going to end, but that there is that sense of completion that creates a sense of happiness within your family because it's like finally resolved. You know, that 10 being the end of the cycle, and with emotions, with the cups, it might be finally resolved and you no longer feel like you're in a place where you're just kind of in no man's land, because that's what the hangman can feel like sometimes, is no man's land. And so yeah, can this mean that you're going to get back with a partner? I suppose so, but with the Three of Swords, I think that there can be this, the first cut is the deepest. I might title it that. And that's a great song. If you've never heard that song, you should definitely listen to it, because you have to have courage to love, because it is kind of sometimes it doesn't go the way you want it to. And if you hold in your mind's eye, Scorpio, this ideal of a mutual love, I think that you can attract that. Sometimes I think Scorpio is all too willing to believe that, love is an illusion, even. That it's just a matter of time before the Three of Swords kicks in. So that might be your own, what do they call that? Self-fulfilling prophecy that you hold, that you're going to be hurt by love. And you may have like serious trust issues, some of you. And so the Ten of Cups is always the potential outcome, however that manifests for you. But even the meaning of the pot at the end of the rainbow, that relationship that is your life partner, hold out for that sort of person. Don't settle for second best. Okay, that's what I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a personal reading, I'm primarily an astrologer, but that's a good thing, because the natal chart is an amazing tool. You can check out what I have to offer at the link below. Take care. Bye.